Hey folks, welcome to Software Testing Hacks. Today I have Chetan along with me for mock interview. He's a fresher. Hi Chetan, welcome to Software Testing Hacks. Could you please
And
introduce yourself also?
yeah, mhm. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. And I'm Chetan here. I'm born and raised in a town called Chintamani near Chikbalapur district, which is in Karnataka. And I completed my BA in Electronics and Communication as my main stream at KS Institute of Technology in Bangalore. And I did my schooling and intermediate in Chintamani town. And I have done my academic project on a smart mirror, which is built using Raspberry Pi controller. And coming to my technical skills, I recently upskilled in a testing course as manual tester, along with automation also. And in this course, I have learned all the software development lifecycle works in a software company. For example, waterfall model, spiral model, agile, etc. Like this. And studied software testing and types of software testing, like that is white box and black box testing. And I have good knowledge on SQL concepts, and I have very good knowledge on Core Java and Selenium concepts. And my hobbies are traveling, video editing, and playing cricket. And my strength is I'm self-motivated. I'm a continuous learner, and I'm able to adapt to new situations and new technologies easily. Yes, this is all about myself. Right now, I'm looking for an opportunity where I can start my career in software testing.
Sure, great. Yeah. So thanks for your introduction. Shall we start with the questions now?
Okay.
Yeah. So what is software testing and why do you think software testing is needed?
Um, uh, Testing the software in order to find the defects according to the customer requirement is called as a software testing. And why means to ensure to make sure the quality of the product is good, and to ensure that whether all the requirements are implemented correctly in the software. To check that, we
Oh.
do testing.
Okay, but what will happen if an application is not tested?
Not tested. Not tested means it will be having blocker and critical defects, and customer will face a problem if we
Mm.
release
Yeah.
the software without testing. There are chances customer face a problem.
There could be a chance that the leakage of the defects could be there, which may have some impacts on the customers, especially in case of banking applications and which is highly secured. So those types of applications are core for customers because they'll be having real money in that. So that's the reason testing is important. Can you tell
Yes.
me what are the disadvantages of waterfall model?
In the waterfall model, requirement changes are designed or not tested in the initial stages, and mm, time taken is more, and the initial investment is high, and mm, and once after the development stage only, we'll go for testing. So if the defect is if any defect is found in the requirement stage, it will float till the end of the coding. So we'll be having more defects. Yes, and that's it. I think.
Is it easy to handle the change in requirements?
No.
No. So what happens is, suppose in waterfall model, the requirement will be first freezed, and next all the other activity takes place, right? In
Yes.
case if some requirements needs to be changed, after development phase. Okay, so what happens again? They have to go and change the requirement,
Yes.
which is time consuming, and it is not so easy in there. It cannot take so much adaptability in case of changing requirements. So that is also one of the disadvantage of waterfall model. Okay,
We can adopt the waterfall model when there are no requirement changes, and if there is any small projects, we can go for waterfall model.
right, right. And what do you mean by usability testing?
Uh, is testing the user friendliness of the application is called as usability testing, and we do usability testing whether the software is easy to understand, whether
Mm.
it is easy to navigate, and all the like all the components are like perfect proper placeholder is displayed, and when we enter a invalid data and the proper error message is displayed, we check all those in usability testing.
Okay. But suppose if I have given you an application, let's say I have given you Amazon.com. Okay. What all things you will test from starting to ending? Like it should involve all the different types of testing that you perform, and along with that, what all different types of testing that you perform. Can you just brief about it?
Mm. First, I will open the browser and I will enter the URL, Amazon URL, and I will check whether the web page is displayed or not. And if the web page is displayed, I will first you have to test for the login. No, no, sign up. First, we have to test the sign up. Whether we will enter all the valid data and I will click on the sign up button. I will check whether the uh, I am able to create the account or not. And in the login page, I will enter all the valid data. I will click on the login. I will
1 second.
check
I
whether
don't want the cases. I don't want to know the what cases that you perform. I just want to understand. Suppose say I have given you a full-fledged application which is completely ready now. It is functioning perfectly fine now. So now I have given you that application. You have to test it. How do you begin? I mean, there are different testings, right? Suppose say when I have given you an application, you will test it from UI perspective, right? First is okay, and then you will test the database also. Then you will test the API also, right? So are you aware of this API testing and database
no,
testing
no,
also?
I'm not aware of API testing.
Okay. Whenever I have given you an application, first you will check it from the UI perspective, where you will write the test cases and everything. But behind the scene, the functionality, if you want to check the functionality, then API should be ready. API stands for Application Programming Interface, which will be having the major or main implementation of the functionality, and those will help us to uh, you know create the content, or it will store the data to the database. This is a bridge actually between the UI and the database. So that type of testing that you will perform basically whenever I give you an application, that's what you know you can see. Okay, that's fine. You continue with what all the test cases you can write on Amazon.com. Suppose I have a page, okay, where you can select the item, and then once it is added to the cart, and then you have to proceed with the payment. So what all the test cases that you write, you can explain that.
First, I will search for the product, and I will check whether the product is displayed or not. And the product is displayed. I will click on the product and I will add to the cart.
Mhm.
I will check whether the it is go. I will go to the cart and I will check whether the product is displayed in the cart feature or not. That is one test case. And after product displayed in the cart, I will click on the product and I will click on the buy option, and I will check whether the all Paytm payment options are correctly implemented or not. Mm, and I will pay and will buy the product through credit card or what UP. I will check whether all the options are correctly working or not.
Okay, this is from the positive flow. But what are the other tests also you can perform?
Need to, uh, uh, in the payment page, I will enter invalid data. I will check whether it is payment is accepting or not. It's need to test case.
Okay, apart from that, suppose I have added an item to the cart, I should be able to remove that item as well, right?
Yes.
You are able to. you know, delete the item whichever you have added to the cart or not. That also is one case that you have to perform, right? So just think through what all the tests you can perform as an end user. Okay, so you will get a lot of cases, and corner cases also it is important to test sometimes. Okay, okay. So have you heard of exploratory testing?
Yes, ma'am. When there is no requirement, we will go for exploratory testing. In that, we will understand the requirement and we will explore the application and we will identify all the possible scenarios and we will document all the scenarios and we will test the application by referring the document. So when there is no requirement, it is always best to go for exploratory testing. Uh, and we can find more blocker and critical defects by doing exploratory testing.
Okay, when will the defect become blocker defect?
When the basic functionality is not working, then it is going to be a blocker,
When it will
like
be a
login or
critical?
something. Critical means, for example, in the phone pair, uh, in the transfer button, in the transfer page, if we enter 2000 and we click on the transfer button, the user is getting 4000. This is going to be a critical defect.
And in case of blocker,
In case of blocker, the transfer button is not working, then it is blocker. In
right?
the blocker, we cannot continue the testing. We will be completely blocked. But in the critical, we can continue the testing. Will we not be blocked?
Right. So do you know anything about agile methodology?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you tell me what is agile and why it is important to follow, or why it is required to follow agile process?
Agile is it is an iterative and incremental model where the customer keeps on changing the requirements and the company will be flexible enough to take up all the changes, develop the changes and test the changes, and they will deliver the software in the within short span of time. It is called as agile. And why we choose agile means a customer can do requirement changes at any stage of the development, and it is a simple model to follow. And there in agile there will be a good communication between the developers, test engineers and scrum master and BA, and there will be daily meetings like scrum meeting or not,
Mm.
so that we can improve the development process. And
Okay,
that's
okay,
why we
right, okay. So do you know anything about test plan? What is test plan?
yeah, test plan, it's nothing but a document which tells all the future testing activities. And in the test plan, it consists of information regarding what type of testing needs to be done and which feature has to be tested by which test engineer, and roles and responsibilities, test environment, and what type of defect tracking tool we should use, and what type of test case management tool we should use. This information will be mentioned in the test plan.
Okay.
And every
So,
company will
hmm,
prepare the test plan when they start a new project.
and do you know any of the test management tool?
Oh, no, I'm not work.
Jira.
I know just Jira, but I've not worked on it.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. But at least you have you heard of Jira?
I had to put Jira.
Yeah, Jira is one of the test
Test
management
case
tool.
management.
Where, yeah, yeah, all that you can maintain, even from logging the defect, creating the user stories. So all this can be maintained in Jira. And apart from that, what is defect? And why do you think defect can be found at any stage? Like, suppose, say, I have given you an application, you will test it and you will find a defect. Okay, so once after you find a defect, then in the next test, I mean, we will perform uh, two stages of testing. One is in the stage environment and another one in pre-production environment. Suppose if I find in staging environment, what things will happen and what is the impact when we find in Next, or the further environment, like pre-production environment. Do you know something like what will happen in this case?
Uh, don't have any idea about that.
Okay. So, in staging environment, we will do the thorough testing. So, all the testers will perform the thorough testing. In that itself, if we find the maximum defect, that will be well and good. And it is like you can save the cost because you are testing it in the initial stage. And if you find in the pre-production environment, sometimes only we testers will test. Sometimes from the client side also, there are chances of they testing it. If they find the defect in the next or pre-production environment, that will be kind of bad impact and also cost will be high in that case. Okay, it has been moved to one environment to another environment now. And the time to fix it could be less because once after it goes to pre-production and in within few days of time, it has to move to the production, right? So that is the reason the cost will be high in that case. So better always to find the defect, more number of defect in staging environment only.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, no problem. And can you just tell me a query? If I have an employee table and I want to get the employee name, employee ID, and employee salary from the employee table, how do you write the query?
Uh, Select employee name, employee ID, and salary from employee table. Uh,
Okay, if I just want the employee with who is having 101 ID, then
Format from ID. Select name, like employee name, employee ID, salary, and from a employment table, and where employment ID is equal to 101.
okay, right. Okay. So going ahead, you are good with Java, right? Okay. So what do you mean by data type?
Data type. It is a type of data which will be stored in the variables, and there are different types of data types like uh, integer, float, double, boolean,
Mm,
etc. Byte,
mm.
in byte long.
What about string?
String is not a data type. No.
What is string then?
Non-primitive data type.
Sorry?
String is no, string is a class. It's not a data type.
Right. Right. So there are two different types of data types, right?
Yes,
Primitive and
ma'am.
non-primitive.
Primitive and non-primitive.
And do you know why a string is immutable in Java?
String is because we cannot change the value.
Value. How any example if you can
We
relate? Huh.
like suppose in suppose for an object, when the four reference variables are pointing to an object, when one reference variable wants to dereference from the object, so it's not affect other reference variables. So the string is immutable.
Okay, so let me give you a simple example. So I have a string where I have initialized the value to, let's say, testing. Okay. Now I want to for the same string I want to append the hacks, testing hacks. Okay. In that case, for the same string, if I take suppose yes, string s is there which is having testing, and then I'll create another string. I mean, I'll just replace this s along with the value whatever is there in s plus hacks. At that time, rather than you know changing the value of the existing string, whatever is present in the memory, it will create another location.
Yes.
Got it? So that's the reason it is immutable. So it is creating the new another memory space for another a same yes variable. So that's the reason string is immutable in Java. Okay, great. Can you explain me some of the OOPS concepts? What all OOPS concept you know, and
Oh,
what does it mean?
there are six types of OOPS concepts. That is class, object, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, and polymorphism. Class means it's nothing but a blueprint or a template which is used to create an object. And object is it's a real-time entity which has its own state and behavior. And inheritance is inheriting the properties from one class to another class or from parent class to subclass is called as inheritance. And to inherit the properties from one class to another class, we use a keyword called extends. And there are five types of inheritance: single level inheritance, multi-level, multiple inheritance, and hierarchical and hybrid. Single level means here a single subclass is inheriting the properties from single superclass. It is called as single level inheritance. And in the multi-level, a single subclass inheriting the properties from its immediate superclass, and that superclass in turn uh, inherit the properties from its superclass. It is called as multi-level. And multiple inheritance, a single subclass inherit the properties from multiple superclasses. It is called as multiple inheritance, and it is not possible through classes. It is possible through interface. And mm, yes, hierarchical. Uh, means hierarchical means a single superclass is a inherit single subclass. Multiple subclasses are inheriting the properties from single superclass. That is called as hierarchical. And hybrid, it is a combination of single level, multi-level, and uh, hierarchical. This is called as a hybrid. And uh, encapsulation. Uh, encapsulation means we wrapping up of data members and function members is called as to form a single unit is called as encapsulation. And to achieve encapsulation, we declare the data members as private, and we provide indirect access by providing public services like getters and setters. Getters are used to get the value, and setters are used to set the value. Uh, yes, or abstraction means we hiding the complexity of the system and showing only the required functionality to the end user. It is called as abstraction. And to achieve abstraction, there are two ways. Through interface, we can achieve 100% abstraction, and through abstract class, we can achieve up to 100% abstraction. And polymorphism. Uh, Here, polymorphism is an object showing different behavior at different stages of its life cycle. It is called as polymorphism. And there are two types: runtime polymorphism and mm, compile time polymorphism. Compile time means here method declaration getting binded to its method definition at the compile time by the compiler based on the arguments passed is called as compile time polymorphism. And runtime, here method declaration getting binded to its method definition during the runtime by the JVM based on the object created. It is called as runtime polymorphism. And method overloading is an example for compile time polymorphism. And method overriding is an example for runtime polymorphism. This is all about work concepts.
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, you're like clear about the OOP concept. Okay. Fine. So going to shall we go to Selenium now then? Or okay, let me ask you one another in Java. In Java, can you explain me the for loop? For loop, how does for loop work?
Uh, Follow there are three conditions. First, we initialize the value. Then we, uh, for example, for data type, take I is equal to 0. We initialize the value in the first, and after that, we specify the condition. After that, we increment the value.
Mm.
Now
Mm.
that is for loop, and we if we specify the like a condition as 10, I is equal to 0 and I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus, and we'll if we specify any, we mention any statement in the for loop, it will run till the 10 times.
Okay. Okay, what will
Uh,
happen if I apply break? I mean, there is a break and continue statement,
that's
right?
one. So
So yeah,
it will
what will
stop the execution.
hmm. Yeah, and it will break,
Continue.
right? And then it will come out of the loop, right? Okay, good. So in Selenium, I mean, before that, what is the need for automating any application?
Mm. So, see, in manual, in regression testing, so there are many past test cases. So if we execute uh, all the past, it will take time, right? So in the automation, if you perform automation, the time taken will be less. So we perform automation and yes, uh,
Yeah.
and there are manpower is not required much in the automation test.
So if you want to, execute the tests repeatedly, so it is definitely, as you said, it is regression testing. Whenever we have regression testing again and again, because each release will have to perform the regression testing. So sometimes we will have to have the release in 15 days, okay, or 1 week release. So in that case, you cannot execute all the thousands of test
Man
cases manually.
cannot.
Yeah, so that's where automation testing helps us. Okay. In Selenium, uh, what are the different components of Selenium?
There are four components. That is Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, and another one. So not able to recall one.
Selenium Grid.
Yes, Selenium Grid.
Okay. So, yes. So these are basically called as components or suite or suites, right? Okay. In Selenium IDE, what we will do? Like, how does it work?
I don't have that much idea on Selenium IDE. I know that there are four components, and
Hmm.
I know about Selenium WebDriver.
Yeah. Selenium IDE is like record and play feature. Okay, you can record the steps and record and play basically, and it supports just Firefox. Yes, I think Firefox it supports. Okay, yeah. Okay, coming to the WebDriver, what do you know about WebDriver?
Uh, WebDriver is an interface which consists of 13 abstract methods, and if we want to perform the action on the browser, then we should use the 13 abstract methods of WebDriver, like to close the application, to read the application. And there are 13 abstract methods that there are quit, close, find element, find elements, and get title, get window handle, get window handles. Uh, these are methods of WebDriver.
Okay, okay, fine. So coming to what are the difference between find element and find elements?
Mm. Find element, it is used to handle only single element, and find elements, it is used to handle multiple elements. And if I find element, if the address is not, if the address is matched with multiple elements, then the find element will return the address of first matching element. And in the find elements, if the address is matching with multiple elements, the find elements method will return the address of all the matching elements. And if the address is not matching with any element, then the find element will throw no such element exception.
Mhm.
And in the case of find elements, it will throw empty array list exception.
Em-
Empty
oh,
array list. And the return type of find element is a web element, and the return type of find elements is list of web element. Uh,
where do you store this web elements basically?
web elements, the reference variable.
Yeah, reference variable, right? But it is something a collection concept, if you know.
Yeah,
But where?
it reference variable of that return type of web element. Uh, if you have to store the find elements, then we store in the reference variable of web element type. If you want to store the find elements method in the reference variable, it is stored in the list of web element.
Yeah, it is a list, right? So that is what I asked
Uh,
for. Okay, okay, great. Okay. Okay. So then, what is action?
Action action is a class which is it in the case of Mozart actions. To perform Mozart action, we want to use action class, and it is a mm, it is a concrete class and it is a parameterized constructor. It consists of an argument where we should mention the address of the browser,
Okay.
and there are some methods in action class. There are uh, move to element method and double click, context click method, a drag and drop method. These are the methods which is present in action class.
Only mouse events or any other events also it can accept actions.
The
Keyboard events.
keyboard, I didn't work on keyboard. I don't know.
Yeah, mouse and keyboard events you can pass through uh, this action
Action class.
by creating the object of it. Okay. So I think we are almost done with all the different types of questions that we had. So we have covered from manual automation, Java, and then SQL also. So yeah, I think you are good with all the different topics, but the only thing is while writing the test cases, right? Just make sure that you are thinking from different perspective. Only the straight corner case, straight positive case, always most of the times it works. But when you want to find any defects or more and more defects, then definitely you have to think from negative perspective, negative scenarios and corner cases also. That thinking is important. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just want to thank you for this opportunity, because like as many of us we do various courses in various places, and we think that we know everything, and we can able to crack the interview itself, first round itself. So in the practical, if you attend the real time interview, we'll get blocked and we're not able to answer. So you are helping us how to face the interview and how to answer in an interview. So I want to say thank you for this opportunity.
Mm, no problem. So I think you will be able to crack the no worries with that because for fresher level you have good knowledge of all the important things whatever you're supposed to have. So that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay then. Thanks for joining. Um,